into the frame here.
No coincidence this, is it, to see the likes of Bagnaia, Martin and Binder right at the sharp end early on in this sprint. They have been the go-to sprint in 2023. There are only 3 riders that have taken wins on Saturday. Here comes Bagnaia though, he's got that inside line, beautifully done. Line that up, coming through that high speed. He's got all the hard work to do all over again. He's trying to find a way back through up the hill into turn number 13. No way through. Martin then now in third.
He got such a good slingshot, didn't he, down the hill out of dangerous, and Miller's pretty good on the brakes as well, isn't he? He sends it at the inside of Bagnaia once again.
Yeah, Martin's in hot as well. Could that allow Luca Marini to sweep back up into third place? Now Martin will have the inside line as they drop down through the second corner. Keeping a very close eye on proceedings directly ahead of him here is Brad Binder. Marco Bezzecchi is also coming into contention, and he is dragging Zarco with him as well. Zarco has regrouped from a poor first couple laps. You can just see now out of your picture. He's only one.
They disappeared over the crest there, down into the Omega. I thought Bagnaia was going to try and move into turn 3. That would have been highly ambitious and brave. He sits in second, but of course with the frenetic action of this sprint, Bagnaia knows if he doesn't deal inside of it.
Already, second sector, Zarco was absolutely superb. He took 4 tenths out of Marco Bezzecchi alone in that second split. They now, the top 5, they're about to be a top 7, aren't they, very, very quickly as they drop down through turn number 11. There's just inches between Miller, Martin and Bagnaia. And Martin, brilliant move onto that turn number 12. How close do you want it? Oh dear me, this was really close there, wasn't it, as well, between Martin and Miller. And all this is now dragging firmly back into contention. Bezzecchi and Zarco.
Look, Miller was trying to keep the inside line and keep Bagnaia on his right. He thought he'd done it, he had done it, but he hadn't bargained for Martin coming through on his left. So Martin's now a leading group of 7 at the front. They're covered by just 1 second.
This will be interesting, the point scoring place in the top 10 as it stands right now. Top 9, of course, in the sprint score points that have got that medium front tyre on. So in theory, they should have this sprint. Jorge Martino now a clear track in front of him, and he will try and stretch out this group, won't he? Look how good Martin is, the corner speed he's able to carry. Already on this current lap, it's around 3 tenths clear and Miller in second.
We've already seen where Miller's vulnerable on this lap. It's right here as they descend from the waterfall section. Again, you can see him hugging the left-hand side of the track, but Bagnaia is still able to get up the inside of him. So Bagnaia through into second place. Back of that KTM. Marini sits in 4th, but Bagnaia had to make that move.
He had to make that move because he can see through that second clear of Jack Miller. So Bagnaia could not wait a corner. Look, questions here. He's just set the fastest lap of this sprint, a 1:29.90, the first man of this 15-lapper in. And now this is Martin trying to make his clinical
stretch this out. Bagnaia through the first sector was unable to keep pace with Martin. He lost another 10th through there, so Martin looking to try and make that crucial break on lap 6 of 15.
Yeah, over to Bagnaia on this 6th lap. In fact, now he has already eked out his lead. First time in this sprint, Martin out here. He got through on Jack Miller and then got his head down, didn't he, for the next 5 or 6 corners. Maybe knowing that Miller will be holding for slide, we may have already had the big break made here by Martin. Bagnaia starting to drop Miller and the chasing pack behind him. Has he got anything left?
Well, Bagnaia did pull back a 1/4 second, or a 1/10 and a half, should I say, in that 3rd sector, so he's doing his level best. But I was just about to say, it's been a shocking sprint for Marc Marquez so far. He lost out to his brother on the previous lap. He's now off the points.
Martin on a different level here. He's just set another fastest lap of the sprint, 1:29.82. That was 3 tenths, just a whisker over a full second over the line. The gap between the top 6 down to Zarco was he's just struggling at this stage of the sprint. He did a 1:21.7. That was half a second slower, unfortunately, at this stage of the sprint.
Well, the European bikes continue to dominate, don't they? We've got the Ducatis versus the KTMs. Behind 23, Marc Marquez down in 10th position, and the Aprilias are having a nightmare in this sprint. Aleix Espargaro still where he started, back outside the top 10, and Maverick Vinales.
Jonas Folger's entered the pits on the gas Tech 3 machine, so maybe some mechanical issue there for the German Home Grand Prix so far. But at the moment, Martin, he's really good in that second split. He was 1.2 seconds clear in that second sector. But it's sort of settled down, hasn't it now? There was the storm before the calm in many respects. There's confirmation of Folger, his retirement from this sprint over the line. That's the 3rd lap in a row now that Martin has set the best lap of the sprint. He's in the groove. He's found his 6th. Bagnaia is trying to respond. He did a personal best lap of a 1:21.144, but once again, it's 3/10 slower than the brilliant Martin is now.
1.20s, only Martin can lap in that sort of territory at the moment. Bagnaia second and third. He's got a half a second buffer now back to the Australian. Marini continues. Binder will be one of those looking to make progress in that second group, particularly given that championship situation at the moment. He would lose further ground to Bagnaia. Binder, Zarco and Bezzecchi complete that group, who are battling essentially now for third place as Bagnaia starts to stretch clear.
Pre-weekend in the pre-event press conference, asked Jorge Martin if he's in the best moment of his MotoGP career, and he said, yeah, undoubted. Maybe a dirty part of the circuit after all the rain we've had over the last couple of days, but that has been the only mistake we've seen from this man, because other than that, he has been on a totally different level.
Of course, Miller got absolutely swamped there, didn't he? He brought the lead now, but he is continuing to stretch clear of that group behind him, led by Jack Miller, who's still trying as he might to hold off this group, led by Marini, Binder and Zarco.
Well, they've been the dominant duo so far in the sprints, haven't they, this season? There's Zarco, he's not been close enough to fire it up the inside of Binder into turn number 12. But at the moment, Martin on course for 8th course for a 6th sprint podium in 7. Those two are certainly enjoying this new sprint era, aren't they? Pecco Bagnaia, we have to drop all the way back down to 10th place to find Marc Marquez, who's having a pretty good tussle at the moment with the likes of Aleix Espargaro, Fabio Di Giannantonio, of course, 10th.
Way out wide.
Yeah, he's gone wide there. Aleix Espargaro comes through. 10th's not good enough. The points in the...
Saw the body language and the hand gestures yesterday, the visible anger and frustration. Marc Marquez this is uncharted territory for him. Around the Sachsenring, to be riding around in 11th place, and quite frankly, going backwards from there. He did a 1:22.3 last time around. That is a full second slower than Martin is going at the front.
And tomorrow, it's 602 days since his last main Grand Prix victory, nearly a full 2 years ago. And you've got to say at the moment, it's looking like a monumental task, almost mission impossible for Marc Marquez to continue his golden run here. A gold medal certainly coming the way of Martin in this sprint. He has been on a completely different level, as we said. A lead of 1.5 seconds at the start of this lap 10 has been stretched out by another 2/10, 1.7 seconds. He'll have a buffer over Bagnaia. There are the lead riders then. A 1.4 second gap between Martin and Bagnaia. He's in turn nearly 9/10 clear of Miller, who's got then a 1.2 second advantage back to Marini. Barring any late mistakes here by Martin, Bagnaia and Miller.
John Zarco got it all wrong there into turn 1 at the start of this 11th lap, which has dropped him a little bit back from Brad Binder, who are currently riding on board with. They can see Zarco just behind him, and Marco Bezzecchi is trying to get on terms with this trio battling for 4th place. Bezzecchi just hasn't had the pace of the group up ahead of him. Running
never happened at all. A complete lack of front-end feeling, wasn't it, for Bezzecchi, as Binder trying to find a way through, trying to force South African. You can just see there Marini going defensive. He'll hear that RC16 rocketing up behind him. He just cut the middle part of the circuit there, leaving no gap for Binder to dive bomb him into that final corner. But here comes Binder trying to pick up some of that famed KTM top speed. It's not really so crucial as it was in Mugello last weekend in the Sachsenring. I've worked all over again.
He just cannot outbrake Luca Marini, can he? He pulled alongside him there into turn 12, but just got outbraked by the Mini PR46 man. And then once again, he will brake plated up as Maverick Vinales goes down. That really does sum up Maverick Vinales this weekend.
Maverick Vinales, what has happened to his form? It's completely disappeared, hasn't it? Binder again, he's just trying to get close enough, maybe here to line turn number 11, the Waldman corner. One of the most spectacular corners on the Grand Prix calendar, let alone here at the goes defensive again.
I think Binder's just going to have to maybe wait for a last lap dice here with Luca Marini, because he's having to go over the limit to get past Luca Marini. Turn 1, that's from a long way back, Brad. If you could try that one, he almost ran into the back of the number 10.
There's not a lot wrong with Luca Marini's confidence in that hard front tyre, given the fact that all the guys in the hard front didn't cut a single lap on it at any stage coming into this.
And he got a little bit roughed up early on, but the main reason he lost some time, it was either gears and it wouldn't go. These things drop out of the power, they do not run. And I could see him dancing on the gear lever in a panic, trying to get it back in a low enough gear for it to accelerate, but he lost positions. And the problem with that is it's so hard to pass here, as you can see.
Yeah, good spot, that. Real good observation, Simon. He did drop from 4th place. He was 8th very early on, wasn't he? So that goes some way to explaining the early dramas for Johan Zarco, and it's been a weekend up with Marc Marquez in the first corner in Q2. Talking about Marc Marquez, this is a humbling experience, isn't it? A real chastening experience. This will feel like a right old knockout left up the jaw, won't it, for the 8 times world champion. 11th at the moment, Marc Marquez. He's nearly a second slower than the race leader Jorge Martin. He pulls alongside Marini again. Doesn't he, Binder? This time around, can he put up on the brakes? He's going in hot again. That's the second time first corner, but Marini can hear it coming. He just leaves the door wide open and just says, OK, mate, you're not going to make the apex, and I'll just ease back on the inside. Really good battle this, though, raging between Marini, Binder and Zarco for what is 5th in this sprint.
We're on to the penultimate on the brakes. I think Brad's best shot now will be to wait for this final lap and maybe either go for it into turn 12 or just send one into 13. He's now trying to get creative into turn 9 as well. That's a very ambitious one, although Marini does go...
Try as he might, Brad Binder just cannot find a way through to make the pass stick, and now he's under pressure here from Zarco. Zarco coming from a long one-way back to the Ducatis. He can't find a way through. So here we go then. Battle of the 4th. Marini will climb up the hill, and it's a sharp climb up the hill as well. Bezzecchi and Marquez anyway through this time for Binder as that KTM snakes left and snakes right, but still Marini hangs in there. He holds on to 4th.
I think Brad Binder's trying. He's absolutely sideways into turn 1, so that puts it into the final corner, into turn 13. Just a block pass because the finish line is just over that crest on the outside of the final.
2.5 seconds from Pecco Bagnaia, and on a drag race to the finish line, Jack Miller takes 3rd. It's Marini who just holds and just wins that drag race at 4th place. Zarco takes 5th after his big contact with Brad Binder in the fastest part, or one of the fastest parts of the Sachsenring circuit. And a miserable day, a miserable weekend for Marc Marquez. He takes the checkered flag. P nowhere really. 11th. No points in that sprint for Marquez. He finished 10.8 seconds behind Jorge Martin. What's that, 3/4 of a second per lap off the pace? That's a crushing afternoon for Marc Marquez. 4 crashes this weekend, but take your hat off to Jorge Martin. That graphic says it all, doesn't it? The big fist pump, the big smile. 2 wins in the last 3 sprints for him, and without any question, make no mistake, Jorge Martin is a title contender in 2023. Brilliant from him.
He moves up to 2nd place in the World Championship with that. His teammate will be pretty chuffed with this as well in the final. Watch this into the Ralph Bollman curve. It is under investigation. Johan Zarco is not ahead of Brad Binder there when they get to the apex. He's probably half a wheel behind him as Brad Binder tips it in. Brad Binder has got no option there but to turn into the corner, and he finds a Pramac Ducati in the way. Contact between the two. If we measure that up against incidents that we've seen in the past, I do wonder whether race direction might just reverse those 2 positions again.
Simon, I'm sure you've just seen that replay. I mean, was that just good old-fashioned hard racing again?
I saw it live. I didn't see the replay, but boys, it's racing. Nobody crashed, and it was a good fight. I hope they leave it alone.
Yeah, we'll keep a close eye on that one. Thanks for that, Simon.
And that's coming from a Binder fan.
Yeah, I mean, Brad Binder came out the words of it clearly, didn't he? But he's not shy of a good old-fashioned scrap himself, is he, Brad Binder? I'm sure he enjoyed it. So many top performances in that sprint, none better than this man, Jorge Martin, who had the scare, didn't he, having just taken the lead at turn 12, but once he regrouped from that, nobody saw which way this young man went. What a charge he goes on then now. That is now